welcome to the channel again. We have the Village Valet today, and we're going to be talking about property management. So I'd like to introduce you to Amy and Teresa. Amy is the owner and broker and also a lawyer. And Teresa is the Director of Client Services. So welcome to the channel, both of you. Let's start with introductions. Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this for us, David. So I moved here in the Villages about 7-ish years ago, and I started an estate planning business. And then I've always, since I have a law degree, I've always done a little bit of real estate, because in contracts, it kind of all goes together. And so I had my real estate license. And then I'm talking to a friend of mine over a few glasses of wine. And I came up with this great idea. Let's rent out properties here. And she's a real estate agent also. So that's
wine decisions. Those are dangerous wine decisions.
I know they are. But anyway, you know, and we kind of laugh about it now because this was about 1.5 years ago. And it started kind of slowly, but then it got to a place where we were providing really good services to the landlords, and it's very important to do that, of course. And it just really grew. And now we've got 40 plus properties, and we just keep picking up properties. We got 2 this week. So, and as long as our landlords are happy, that's, you know, they start passing on business, and that's what we really like that.
That's awesome. So Teresa, you're in charge of the front end, meeting the clients and client care. So let's talk a little bit about your role in the company.
Okay, so enter me as they grew significantly fast. There became a need to have somebody to kind of handle the front end. I work with the clients when they come in. I will go, you know, and meet them with Amy and get to know the home and get the vibe for a home and help set that up. And then I also do, so I maintain regular communication now with the owners to troubleshoot things or implement new things that we think are going to be more effective for just kind of streamlining their services and letting them know that we are heavily involved and on top of things. And then I also do the booking. So clients as well, guests, if you will. I work with them, getting them situated as the bookings come in, answering their questions, making sure they get the proper kind of guest pass versus lifestyle ID that they desire. And then just kind of ensuring that they have a smooth arrival and that all goes well on that front. So I'm kind of handling the front of both sides of it, clients, meaning the homeowners, as well as clients or guests.
So do you find that you're doing long-term and short-term guests now?
No, really, we're mainly just the short term. And by short term, I mean 1 to 3 months. Right. We're not doing a year rental. That's kind of a different market. So where we advertise is Airbnb, Vrbo, and our own website. And so the people who are doing a search on those tend to be looking for, you know, a shorter term rather than a long-term rental. So I think it's kind of a different market, and it's different avenues that people go to. But I wanted to go back to talking about our services and everything. We have a team, and as I said, we've grown rather quickly. There's 2 other owners, and the 3 of us have we all have our specialties. Like I do the contracts, I'm the legal end of that entire process. And everybody kind of has their own niche. And we have a team of about 7 people. We've got a handyman. We've got, so anytime there's something that goes wrong, that it's kind of an easier fix, instead of sending, you know, if something happens with the toilet, instead of sending a plumber, we will be a lower cost for our landlords, so that, you know, it's going to the home is $25 rather than $100.
Right.
You know, to do nothing, basically. That's not, you know. So we've just got a whole team. We've got a cleaning crew and somebody who's in charge of running all of that. So all that's really important, but what Teresa does, I believe, is to me the most important thing in the business, which is regularly. I mean, it doesn't matter, no matter what, a person can get an email and a text, and they may not read it. They will still text and call us. You know,
Right.
that's just the way it works. And so you need somebody really on the ball to do that. And that's who Teresa is.
Well, it's nice because as a landlord, when they hire a property management company, they really want to distance themselves from the guests, right? They don't want to be involved in the day-to-day running of the home. So it sounds like, Teresa, you're the first point of contact for the guests, and then you can bring in the plumber, the cleaner, the handyman, whoever it is, and the landlord doesn't get involved in any of that, which is fabulous if you're looking to be hands off.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And then that's what she is.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you've been in business for going up to 2 years now, and you have 40 rentals. That's really impressive. Congratulations.
We're really at about 44.
44, 10% more than I
today,
said.
this week we've already gotten 2, so it'll be 46.
You've grown 10%. Yeah. That's great.
You know, it was funny because I was doing last year I was doing a expo where you go and promote your business, and at Brownwood, and the guy who runs it came up to me and he said, and I was doing half the table was my law practice and the other half was the property management. And he came up and he goes, the law thing is good, promoting that. He goes, but if you can do property management right in the villages and do it well, this is a brilliant idea. And I think that's very true. I've watched one of our competitors go out of business this year. Very sad. I've had calls about people who were renting that paid money and the guys absconded. And, you know, it's going to be tough for people that have paid for a place next year to get that money back.
Yeah, that is a terrible situation. Yeah, it really is.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important to do this service really well. And it's very, you know, this is customer service industry, so you really have to be good at it.
It's important to know that in order to do property management in Florida, you have to be a real estate agent. So you having your broker license allows you to term yourself as a property management. Like there are other companies that do home watch, right? This isn't a home watch service. This is true property management. Yeah,
and in the beginning we had considered doing that, but no, we've just gone in the direction of strictly property management. You actually have to have a broker on board, which is why I had to go get my license. So, and in the state of Florida, you have to be a sales agent for 2 years, and then be, you know, able to take the broker's exam. But yeah, I'm not sure that every state is like that. I think probably are not, but but that is the case here. Yeah, that's great. So when someone's interested in looking at your services, why don't I pull up the website real quick here, and then we can look at that. So this is your website, and it has a few different components. This is the where you can actually see different properties that are available, featured properties, and then see all properties here. And you can put in locations and dates and guests. When someone fills out this form, where does that information go to?
That comes to me. And then I can see what they're interested in. I can reach out, follow up, ask additional questions of them, and help them maybe hone in on something that's the best fit. So it gives us the ability to connect then on a more personal level. Once they submit that inquiry, we can talk about, you know, different things, like they may be inquiring about a home that doesn't allow for pets. Well, I can come back and share with them then all the homes we do have that highlight out that we can do pets. So it's kind of like a relationship building with the potential guest and helping them find the best fit. Yeah, and I think that one of the things that happens too is that sometimes there's not a home available for the client, but because you've got their information and you know what they're looking for, as new homes come on to the system, you can alert them and say, listen, I've got this one coming up and here's the situation, and go from there. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we have a little funnel of those, of people, particularly people seeking pet friendly for the winter.
Right.
And so I just maintain some light contact with them, to update them. And if there does, a new home comes to us, then I can let them know about it.
Right. And the village is a little bit unique in a sense that there are some prime months in the villages and then not so prime months. And as a short-term landlord myself, I know that January, February, March in particular, sometimes April, that's the bread and butter for a landlord to make their money. The sort of April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, not as much, but those 4 months are where landlords should be making the most amount of money to pay for their expenses. How do you guys handle your services when it comes to the prime months versus the not prime months?
So we began the company doing a flat percentage of what we charge for our services. Over time, when you start out a business, you got to kind of figure out what makes money and what doesn't make money, and you want everybody to flourish from the business.
Yep.
I want the landlords to, and we need to too. So I've kind of changed the commission to 18% if we get the high months, and 20% if people want to be, there's a lot of snowbirds here and they'll come down in those prime months.
Yep.
Who don't really care if they, some people really want to make the money and some people don't. It's case by case. So for us, and we're watching what makes sense for the company. But yes, those 3 months are basically, the differential in how much you can make, the landlord and the property manager. Those are very important. So we're pretty much going to, in the future, probably be going to that.
Right.
And I know like the villages, their property management, they won't take you unless you do January, February, March.
Right.
And they won't even take you, but.
And I think that's really fair because, a lot of people will say, oh, I can rent January, February, March. I don't need to pay you guys. But if that's the case, that the harder work is from May to January, and that, you deserve a bigger portion of the commission in order to get that done. The January, February, and March rentals, yeah, sure, maybe it's easier, but there's still work involved. So it's not like you're going to discount 50%. You're going to make, everyone needs to make money. That's why we run businesses, right? So
exactly.
That's what we do. So it's not unfair to charge for different services. So just to clarify, if a landlord calls you and says, I just want you to rent out my property all year, that would be an 18% commission. But if they say, listen, I'm going to take care of January, February, and March and let you do April through December, you charge 20% for that service.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about what happens if there's issues, because they do come up every once in a while where there'll be a guest at the house and the water stops working, or there's a flat tire on the golf cart. How does that get resolved with you guys?
They reach out directly to us with the issue. I will intake all of that information and then make decisions as to how to most expeditiously address the situation. We did just have a golf cart situation over the weekend, a flat tire stranded in the middle of the south side of the villages. So we had cart aid to the rescue, and what a wonderful service. And we'll be talking about a little bit more, down the line about the emergency transportation. But we were able to take the cart back to the home and have it safe and dry for the overnight, and then get the attention it needed the next day. So just address it as quickly as possible, and always, with it, keeping in mind that we want to make that expenditure as minimal as possible. But we're not 24/7.
Weren't they in the middle of golfing also, Teresa?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there was
Well-
actually two, Amy. There was actually two.
Oh, there's another
One
one.
of them one of them had to be taken to the garage and put into safety for the night. And we then addressed it the very next day and were able to get them back on the road. Another one happened to be on the golf course right next door to a golf dealer slash service provider. So they were able to go park it right there. And then, they got a rental, and 2 days later, the golf cart was fixed. So I coordinate all that to be sure that the guest stays happy and on the course, and that also the owners are happy with the decisions about vendors and how to rectify or fix
Well,
problems.
no pun intended, but that golfer got a hole in one. Just happened to be the tire. You'd be proud of that, right? So
Yeah.
that's great. That's what it is it's peace of mind, right? It's peace of mind for the guest to know that if there are issues, they're going to have someone to contact, and the issues are going to get resolved as quickly as they can be done. Sometimes there are landlords that don't respond in a timely manner, and that can be frustrating for guests. So this is a great service that you guys provide, is that there's a number and a person to talk to, and you're the front facing person of the organization because you're right with the clients, Teresa.
Yeah, and I do pride myself on, being able to establish a rapport and troubleshoot and even, smooth out any kind of issues. If the air conditioner goes out, people are not happy in Florida. They're hot, they're uncomfortable, and they want that situation handled readily. And so, just making them aware that we're right there. We're going to handle this for you now and solve it to the best of our human capacity.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
So how do payment processings happen? So for instance, are the guests paying you and then you pay the landlords, or how does that work?
So actually, when they book online, they will either pay half up front or the full amount. Each, like Verbo is different than Airbnb and different from our website. So there are 3 different modes. For Airbnb, the amount is held in escrow there. Basically, with Airbnb, we don't get that money until the person checks in, and actually it's the day after. And then we pay our landlords. We'll give a breakdown of the past month, and we'll do like a monthly payment to them, and they'll see everything, what they made, what the bookings were. Our landlords can go out and, online and through a portal and actually block out certain times too. So I would say most of them are watching online, and they know when people are actually in their house.
Right.
But that's how the payments are processed.
Okay, so that's nice to know that you can actually see what's scheduled, and you can black out times if you've got family coming to visit or you need to use the property
Exactly.
yourself. Okay, that's excellent. And then depending on what platform they're using to rent the property, the money gets delivered in different ways. But at the end of the day, it's the landlord or the owner gets paid on a monthly basis for the rentals that happened in the previous month.
Correct.
Yeah, that's excellent. So if I was someone that wanted to have my house available through your services, what's the best way to contact you?
You can do it on the website. You can go there, and then the email will be sent as a new contact.
Okay.
That will come to me in the future first, and then we'll meet with them or see if it's fit over the phone, and then go see the house. And that's what we get most of the time.
Okay.
You can call us too, but I find that most people fill out the new contact form and come via that way. But we have 3 owners, so everybody knows different people. So sometimes people will call us directly. And the other day I had a client from my estate planning, and like 2 years ago, and they had somebody, he knew that I was doing this, and he he went ahead and referred some people who were moving here, but needed a rental from mid-July to the end of August.
Right.
And so that's not a high month here. So I wanted to see what house would fit their needs and then work that out and make it so everybody, works out. So yes, sometimes things like that happen. There are various ways. And like I said, everybody knows different people. So those referrals come in just from different sources.
That's awesome.
And Jane's one of our sources.
Yeah,
too.
so we're going to have a special guest here. Jane is one of your clients, and she reached out to me to say that she'd like to be a part of the discussion. Jane, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you, but that's okay if you don't want to be on camera.
Well, I don't know how to do it any differently, but I see two people that I know.
That's awesome. And one that
Jane.
you don't. So, Jane, my name's David Anderson. I'm the host of Homes, the Village's YouTube site. And of course, Amy and Teresa from Villages Valet. How are you today?
I'm great. In
Awesome.
sunny upstate New York, the weather is 74 degrees and it's gorgeous. Sorry, it's hot there.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
So
beautiful.
let's have a little discussion. You use the Villages Valet as your property management company. How long have you been doing that?
I think we joined with them in March, and I think we were a go like for April 1st, I believe was the date. That sounds right, Amy?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, we started maybe in February, by the time we got all the paperwork done, and we had the house ready. I think it was April 1st.
Okay. And sort of unsolicited, you reached out to me through one of the Facebook groups saying that you'd like to be involved in the discussion. So I'm assuming it's to say that they're doing a great job, right?
They are, and Amy knows I'm an advocate for them. We had a little discussion. She told me one of the clients that had just called in, this was way back, had said that I had given them the name, and I just actually, there's another gal, and I can't remember her name, said her first customer through Amy was coming in this weekend, and she was excited but nervous. I told her, sit back, relax, have a cocktail, it's all good.
Awesome.
So yeah, and I mean, I think I would have done this either way. I think your message said interview them, and I just said, well, why don't you interview one of the clients?
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to interview them, but I also, being a business person in my past, I think it's great to hear what they have to say, but I think it's better to hear what the customer had to say.
So you started in April. What are the services that you really find differentiate Village Valet from maybe other property management companies you were considering?
Well, we did interview a couple others, but one of the things I liked right off the bat was the 30-day cancellation policy. That was something that was attractive to us because that way we both could get out of the agreement either way with 30-day notification. I think that was probably one of the most important things for us.
So you didn't feel like you were stuck in a contract for a year, and if things weren't going well, you couldn't get out of it.
Right.
Well, I think that goes both ways. And I always tell people, and I do think you're right, Jane. I mean, I've had other people who are like, because I just met with some people on Monday and they're going to be switching, but they have a contract until mid-November, and in a year their place has been rented for one time, like one month out of all that, and for a year, which is absolutely terrible. And I always tell people, as a lawyer, some people like to have these agreements in place, but for me as customer service, I do not want to go to court with people. If you're not happy with my services and I'm not happy with your services, either way, let's just give 30 days notice and we walk away amicably. That's what I believe. It goes back to what you said in the beginning. Like, we're all here to do business, make money, and you have to look at it like that. But I don't want people to be unhappy with my services and not be able to just part ways.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, disagreements happen and there's no use litigating those disagreements. Let's just move on, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. The other thing that attracted me to them in the beginning before we even did the contract was the response time to questions and getting back to us with answers.
Mhm.
I didn't have to go for days. So I guess you would classify this under the customer service umbrella.
Right.
And that has carried through with everything that we've done with them, like setting up to take pictures, to installing the lock, to, hey, we got an issue at the house. Here's what we need from you. And hopefully our response time back to them is just as good. And we have a house that's owned by two couples. And I wanted to be the single point of contact because I've been in customer service all my life. I'm retired now. And I felt I was the easiest person for them to get a hold of night or day. And I know that how quickly I would respond if I got the call. So our partners all agreed because Ashling is working still. And I just think it was easier. So customer service was our focus, which also meant the customers, our clients that are renting the house would also get that same service.
Right. Yeah, that goes a long way. If you're feeling good, you know that your clients are going to be feeling good about the process too. That's excellent.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, we did have an issue with the furnace, and Mark called me. He was, I think, somewhere on vacation in Texas or whatever, which also gives me another warm and fuzzy feeling. I mean, I hate to interrupt anyone's vacation because as a business person, they need a break as well, but he never dropped the issue. He was on top of it. We didn't have an HVAC person. He said, we have someone, they handled it, and they didn't rob the bank doing it.
Right.
So it was an issue and they didn't call him out over the weekend so that we maybe had to pay a higher rate. They waited till Monday because they had assessed the issue, and then they therefore said it can wait till Monday. Somebody came, got fixed. They paid them because they couldn't get a hold of us. I don't know what the problem was, but they handled it, paid them, and they billed us, and that was all good. So we've had some different things. Also, when we started out with using them, they gave us a list of things that we should have in the house. And I was happy to say that probably 90% of them we had. And then we just had to wrap up the last few things, and it made it easy for them. It made it easy for us. So far, and our occupancy rate, I have to say, has been very nice. I mean, it's not been filled every day, but we've been getting bookings. They've been watching the rates and getting them in accordance to what they know will work for the summer months. And we've been getting income for April, May, June. And then we also, I think for July, I think we've got 3 or 4 bookings already this month scheduled.
That's awesome. And I know that like property management companies can't guarantee
Exactly.
rentals, you know, there's no way to do that, but it's really nice to see that you're getting revenue through the slower months. The previous
Correct.
to you coming on, we were talking that January, February, March are the months that are easy to book. It's the May to December months that need effort. And it's good to hear that Village Valet is putting in the effort to get you the bookings that will keep you coming back to them and using them over and over again.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, I think that Jane has sort of reinforced everything that we talked about before she came on: the customer service, the attention to detail, the ease of use. And we really appreciate you coming on, Jane, and just sharing your experience.
Yep. Hey, it's good to see you gals. Elizabeth,
You
nice
too,
to see you.
Jane.
Yes. All right. Stay
Thank
cool.
you.
And more importantly, stay hydrated.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
for
again.
coming on.
Okay, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.
All right. We'll report that. So that's excellent. So if someone wants to contact you, they go to the website, they fill out the form that's there. One of you two will look at that form and discuss it and get back to them, and then they can be Village Valet customers.
And they can always call too.
Can always call too.
So if the person isn't really good on the computer, they can always call.
Excellent.
They will get responded to.
And just so everyone knows, the website is villagevalet.net, N-E-T. So if they're searching, it's villagevalet.net, and they can find you quite easily looking for that site.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks again, guys, for joining us today, and continued success with the business.
Thank you very much.